Hello everyone and welcome along to TGP1. It's week 5 with rounds 9 and 10 and we're in the glorious Ardennes Forest and we're here in Spa-Francorchamps for round number 9 of TGP1 season. We're then off to race at Paul Ricard. We're hoping for 2 good races here tonight. We had 2 where the man you're watching on the screen, Matt Tibos and Softy, added to their win tallies. We, at the moment, we've got some nice dry weather for Belgium, and the drivers, with just over 4 minutes to go, just starting their potential final runs or just coming back into the pits. The clouds are coming over. We've lost a little bit of the sun, but we've still got Dom Smith in the commentary box alongside me. Good evening, Dom.
Great to be alongside you, as always, Mike. Good evening, everyone. It's been Matt and Softy, 3 wins apiece, 3 poles apiece, who have had the most joy when it comes to qualifying this season. And here in Belgium, a track Softy has won it 4 times before. He currently sits quickest, just a 10th clear of Corey, who's done a bit of resurgence here this weekend. And Matt Tibos, Softy's main title rival, currently 3rd, 3/10 back. But still, 3 minutes of the session to go. As Mike said, no rain expected. So it is going to be a final shootout in the closing minutes to see who takes pole here at Spa-Francorchamps.
Yep, we're in for a really excited end of the session at the moment. We've just got a 10th of a second separating our top 2. Softy currently joined on the front row at the moment by Corey. Corey, Dom, remind me, Corey had a pole yet so far this season? I don't think he has he?
No, so Corey's not had the pace in qualifying. He's not even had the pace come the race. I think he's only made the podium twice, which was back in Japan and the United States, of course, last week. But yeah, yet to get a pole, yet to get a fastest lap. Corey has not quite had the pace on qualifying or race day yet so far this season. A reigning champion, of course. So it's good to see him now right back up there and currently a 10th off Softy. He could well take pole here, his first of the season.
Yep, we got Dan the Man just starting a lap at the moment in P4. A good session for him so far, dipping into the 1:41. As unfortunately, Paul has retired somewhere around the lap, so he's not going to be going any better than 14th. We've got Matt Tibos in the pits, our reigning TGP1 champion at the moment, then planning his final run, I'm sure. We've got Corey and Softy on outlaps at the moment. Aidan Griffiths is also on a flying lap, but let's watch down the man as he heads up towards Les Combes along the Camel Straight. The Ferrari's DRS wide open. Can he improve in his first sector time? He's found a 10th and a half. So the man from Liverpool is finding a little bit of time in the first sector, but there's still a long way to go in this lap as he heads down now into Massenet. You've got to keep the front end interested. It tries to wash out from you. Aidan has retired further round on the track, but has gone up to 5th place. Aidan was being overshadowed in this session by his brother so far, but just manages now to dip in the 1:41. Down the man chucking it through Pouon then as he heads now into this tricky chicane. You've got to carry the speed, you've got to carry the momentum, but don't let the car understeer wide. Try and use as much curb as you dare. Down the man on a good lap so far as we're almost on board now with the Ferrari driver. He's still a 10th up in that middle sector. Is this where potentially with that less downforce which he might be carrying, we don't know of course, is this going to help him in the final sector? He needs to find 3/10 to mix it in with the top 3, and at the moment isn't finding enough, but there's still a couple of tricky braking zones and corners to come, and then they're all important short run to the line. Down the man gets it under brakes nicely, wiggles it through the bus stop well, on the power now to the line. Down the man, is he going to improve on a 1:41.8? Yes he does, but it's no improvement on the positions, Dom.
Yeah, no improvement there. A shame for Jonas as well. P7, he has invalidated his lap time. He will start no higher than P7. The 4th row at the moment. It's an all-Renault 4th row alongside Alistair. But attention's now turned to Softy. He's the first of the top 3 to set their final laps of the session. At the moment, Softy is quicker in the first sector. Will he be quicker in the second sector? It looks pretty neat so far. The AlphaTauri driver looking for his 4th pole of the season. Needs to keep it tidy. There is pressure on board him at the moment. Corey and Matt also improving further back. And Softy is 2/10 up. It's looking good, Mike.
Yeah, it's fantastic so far from Softy. He kept it really neat and tidy through those fast corners, and just a few more corners to go now. And is he going to set that benchmark even higher? Chucks it through Blanchimont, carries as much of the inside curb as he dare. It can unsettle the car, but not for Softy. Braking at 100 metres through the gears, gets it into the first of the bus stop corners well. The second one comes at you fast. On the power now and up to the line. Is this going to be an improvement on his pole time? Yes, it is. Into the 1:40s. Softy lets down a hell of a gauntlet. Corey a little bit further back. It's only finding hundredths and he needs to find tenths, and at the moment this isn't going to be enough.
It's looking very good for Softy at the moment as Jack Hickey goes into P3 and the Racing Point. A very good lap time from him at 1:41.5. Was that It is. It's starting to rain here at Spa. Is that going to affect Corey and Matt on their final laps? Corey now coming into the final chicane. He's on P2 at the moment. He'll want to take pole, but he's got to find almost 4 tenths to snatch it from Softy. Straight to the floor. Can he take pole? He can't. He's second. So tensions now turn to Matt Tibos.
Yeah, interestingly, Jack Hickman was purple in that final sector, so really coming alive there as the rain starts to come down. It's this hampering the drivers. Corey lost time, but Matt's going quicker. He's quickest in the middle sector. He's absolutely committed to this lap at the moment. Matt with just a few more corners to go. Can he deny Softy and take himself his 4th pole position of the season? Chucks it through Bronchemont. The rain doesn't seem to be affecting him too much now, but with just a few corners to go. Is he going to spoil Softy's Belgian party? Takes as much curb as he dares on the inside. Puts the foot to the floor. Is he still in with a chance? Matt Tibos the line. He spun. Unbelievable drama. Our reigning champion had his opportunity, and it all went spinning away. And Matt eventually does cross the line. Perhaps the rain affecting him a bit too much in the end there, Dom. But Matt left to rue what could have been.
Yeah, I don't think anyone expected that rain shower. The drivers were saying before it's a full dry qualifying, so they didn't expect that rain to come, and it did right at the end. And that may well have saved Softy. It may well have guaranteed him that pole position, because look at the gap in the end. Corey couldn't call anywhere near him. 4 tenths adrift. Matt Tibos crucially behind Jack Hickey. Matt Tibos needs a strong night tonight if he's to get himself into this title fight. But starting P4 with his main rival on pole position is not what he needs. Matt Tibos caught out by the rain at the end. A good qualifying from Aidan Griffin's P6. And the Renault's 8th and 9th a little further back. CJH, who had a very impressive week Canada last time out. I think he finished P4. A great comeback through the field, driver of the day. He starts P10. But it should be a very interesting race, Mike.
Yeah,
and it is going to be a dry one, I believe.
Yeah, looking forward to the race. Obviously, as Dom just said there, meant to be dry. But as we found out in qualifying, just about anything can happen. So we will see if the rain showers, the famous Spa rain showers in the Ardennes Forest, treat us to another appearance during the race. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We will have to see what happened. And it is very overcast. Dom, we've had some great races in TGP1 in the past in changeable conditions. Do we want to see another one here, or do we want to see a straight lights to flag race?
Well, I think either way, we're guaranteed to see a fantastic race. The grid is set up very nicely, isn't it? Spa always produces fantastic racing. Changeable conditions or not, I think we're going to see a good next 25 minutes. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to follow, especially with Matt Tibos and Aidan Griffin's further back. They're going to have to get their way through the field pretty quickly on. And Corey, keep an eye on him. A bit higher up in qualifying. P2, can he get Softy? Of course, up that run, up, what is it, the Camel Straight? Can he get him down into that corner? It's going to be very fascinating. Can't wait to see how it goes.
Yeah, we've had multiple different pole sitters so far this season, which has been a very even split. But race winners so far have been few and far between. But the drivers just finishing, getting ready now. And let's hope for a really good and clean race. So we've got 5 lights on in Belgium. And we're underway, and it's a good start from the front row. Jack Hickey's got away well from P3 as well, and challenging coming into the first corner. We've got a Ferrari poking his nose a little bit further back, who has to duck out of it in the end. Jack Hickey has lost a couple of places now, and Matt Tibos has made his way up to 3rd as we head on the run down to Eau Rouge for the first time. The Racing Point almost going side by side there. They won't want a repeat of Spa a couple of years ago there, you have to say, but at the moment he's line astern as they make the long run up to Lecom now. Corey all over the back of Softy, moving to the outside. Softy's trying to protect it as best he can. They're side by side. Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? Softy gives him a squeeze, and Corey has to back out as further down the field they start to file into line as we've got a Kong Hofner out on the dirty side of the grid there and has lost a couple of places. Paul McGuinness has made up a couple of places too. Alistair, unfortunately, not having the greatest start, dropping a couple himself. But Corey, with that failed attempted move on Softy, has lost a bit of time and has now got Matt Tibos for company. Dom, a very entertaining opening lap there.
Yeah, brilliant start, wasn't it? Softy
and Phil Bardwell's round at the back. Sorry, Dom.
No surprise there. Phil Bardwell finds himself spinning around more often than not. But Corey, crucially not quite getting clear of Softy. But Matt has jumped Jack Hickey. He's into P3. And a fantastic start for Jonas further back. Gained 2 places into 6th. So what he needs to do. But now it's crucial for Corey to stay within a second of Softy. Make sure he gets to DRS in a couple laps time to try and fight that position back. Because Softy's looking very quick round here.
Yep, really good start there from all the drivers, keeping it relatively clean. We've got Ginger Andy, who is all over the back of Jonas, further back. So Jonas can't have any respite. We said making a couple of positions. Andy staying put. But the cars very close to each other so far on this opening lap. As we head towards the end of lap number 1 then, and across the line, it's as we were at the front with Softy ahead of Corey, but he only just managed to do it. Matt Tibos making up that place on Jack Hickey, as we said, crucial for him to move up into 3rd place. Jack Hickey falling a bit behind the front 3 at the moment, and may fall into the clutches of his teammate. Dan the Man, meanwhile, lost 3 places on that opening lap. Disastrous for him. We saw him poke his nose in on the inside of the Saw Storm, and it didn't work for him.
It didn't, and now he's right on the tail of Ginger Andy there. He's going to get this very quickly, I think, for P7. He's going to go to the left. Andy looking to keep him back, using all of his ears to stay in front, and just can't seem to do anything about it. Phil Bodgel further back. I don't believe have damage from that spin because he stayed out just 5 seconds back from the pack now. But yeah, Dan the Man needs to clear Andy if he can, because that was a poor start from him, losing 3 places. Not what he needs. Normally he's good at it. Not this time round. Yep,
disappointing for Dan. It'll be interesting to see what sort of race he can have now, of course. We mentioned Paul McGuinness as well, up 5 places on that opening lap. So really good effort there from Paul, you have to say. We're still watching Dan here at the moment on his pursuit of Andy, who himself is sticking to the back of John as well. And they're all starting to train up a little bit behind Jack Hickey, who is losing touch with the top 3. As we come towards the second lap, as we said, still anticipating no rain. It is meant to be dry throughout the race. Obviously, we have got this low cow covering at the moment. I'm starting to sound like I work for the Met Office, but Dom, hopefully the rain will stay away, because this race seems to be shaping up nicely.
I mean, the skies do look very grey, don't they? I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a bit of rain towards the end of this race. But yeah, at the moment, it's looking pretty good. We've got Softy still not able to get clear of a second from Corey. Further back, we've got J. Luke, Court and Jordan, the only drivers to have gone on the medium tyres here. So they could come and cash in later on if there is a late safety car or a bit of drama there. But so far, no rain, and it's a very close field at the moment. Everyone bunched together, especially behind Jack Hickey, who's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars behind, as Dan the Man makes an early pit stop on lap 2.
Yeah, Dan calling it early, interestingly. So it'll be interesting to see what tyres he puts on. Doesn't look like he's got any damage, but we'll check the Ferrari mechanics to see what it is that they do. Just goes onto the medium tyres, perhaps fancying himself a bit of clear space there, Dom, to put in some laps and perhaps try an undercut. But very early pit stop, you have to say.
Stuck behind Andy, who himself was stuck behind John, Aidan and Jack Hickey, so maybe it was just worth coming in, getting some fresh air. Different. Aidan Griffins is all over the back of Jack Hickey. John is trying to clear the racing points. These 3 are so close on circuit as Corey brings that gap down to about 6/10 on Softy, so keep an eye on that. But the 2 racing points are here. Will Jack Hickey choose to let his teammate go? Aidan seems to have the quicker pace at the moment in this race, but both of them, of course, fighting for each other in the championship. There's a yellow flag set. There's 1 and 2. There's been, I think, a spin.
I think Alistair Bain has gone round, unfortunately, and he's got himself back going again. But Alistair finding himself off the track, thankfully for him, not ending up in the kitty litter.
Yeah, that's good for him, but that's dropped him right down now to P17. Chances of points already looking pretty slim. He was on the soft tyres, so he'll be pitting very soon anyway. But look at this, Corey and Matt sticking with Softy. A second covering this top 3. I thought Softy would try to get a gap here. He always tries to get clear before the DRS comes in, but Corey is sticking right with him. He has got a lot less
as well. No, he doesn't. Interestingly as well, as Dan picks up a penalty further back, Matt with the got as much as 80% Softy, with the worst out of the 3 of them. Normally it's the other way around. Softy's so good on his ERS management, but at the moment, compared to his 2 rivals for the win at the moment, is struggling as he dives into the pits. Softy, the first of the leaders into the pits. We said that Dan's stop was early. I'd say that Softy's is probably just as early. Paul McGuinness joins in the pits, as does Kong Hoffner. As Corey in the lead now starts lap number 4. Now, what Matt and Corey really need to do here is not lose time battling each other. They both probably know that they could battle each other easily, but the main one they need to think about now is Softy. So keep it line astern, boys, and let's have a race.
Yeah, spot on. Those 2 need to get round the track as quickly as they can, get back into the pits and try and do the overcut on Softy. Softy's going to be very quick as we see the 2 racing points. Jack Hickey and Aidan finally going to go side by side. Is this the chance for Aidan to get clear of his teammate? Will Jack Hickey choose to fight him hard? He doesn't. Aidan put through, but it's a bit wide and almost Jack Hickey comes right back at him. John is now behind the 2 of them. Looks to get in on it as well.
Yep, really good there from Aidan. We haven't really seen much from him since the second round, where he got that shock win in Bahrain, and been very quiet since then, slowly slipping down the championship order after leading the championship after week number 1. Softy, meanwhile, has come out in P13. Not in any traffic at the moment, but Dom, look ahead of him. He's got Court, he's got Camababo and Jordan in front of him, all fighting for position. And he may well catch them this lap.
Yeah, he might do. I think he'll be saved by Corey and Matt choosing to pit both this time round, which means they'll come out behind him. So all three of them will be in that scrap in a lap or two's time. So keep an eye on that. We expect Corey to dive into the pits surely to react. He's kept Matt Tibbles at bay, 5/10 adrift. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how they come out, how far they're going to be behind Softy after the pit stops.
Yeah, here we are then back with the front two. Matt closing up now to less than a half second behind the Alfa Romeo driver. Are we going to see them both duck into the pits? We see Corey pit, but Matt decides to stay out. Maybe was going to box opposite to Corey there. Be really, as Matt does set the fastest lap of the race, so really has got some pace at the moment on these soft tyres. He's taking them a fair way, but if it's giving him some pace in return, you can't say you particularly blade him. As Aiden also comes into the pits, we're going to keep an eye on Softy, who's just a second and a half at the moment behind the scrabbling cars in front of him. Where is Corey? He's just coming to the end of the pit straight now. Softy rounding turn number 1. Where are they going to be? It's going to be mighty close. And I tell you what, Corey nearly got him.
And if Matt Tibbles can set another fastest lap, he might come out ahead of him. And Softy is going to catch this traffic this time round. He's got Jordan, Court Calvo, 2 Williams and a Haas right in front of him. Only about a second clear. So he'll get a bit of DRS possibly now to take advantage. But look,
here comes Corey though, Dom. Is he going to try and move on Softy this lap? I think he's a little bit too far back. And thinks better of it for the moment, playing the long game. Softy, of course, on the on tyres, which will eventually be older, of course. So that's worth keeping an eye on as that story develops.
Softy is under some real pressure here as he locks up. Corey is pushing him close. We saw Softy earlier on in the race using more of his reserves than the drivers behind. Normally it's the other way around, as you said. Softy almost loses the back end. Very twitchy, that AlphaTauri. He's not coping too well around here. He's in a prime position at the moment, but look at this traffic ahead of him. He's got to clear these quickly because Matt Tibbles is setting fast laps up front.
Yeah, Matt Tibbles doing really well on those soft tyres still. The gap between Softy and Matt at the moment, 18.5 seconds. And Softy's going to lose time now behind the cars in front, not being able to nail those braking zones as he would like. And the man from Nottingham is going to be under some real pressure. But surely he'll be able to get Jordan at least into the bus stop. He's almost pushing him down the back straight here as they head towards Blanchimont. And he's trying to do him round the outside. This is going to be brave. And it very nearly contact, but Softy, a beautiful move, you have to say, around the outside. And Corey's going to fancy his chances too. Now into the bus stop chicane, he gets it done. Matt Tibbles, meanwhile, has come into the pits. Let's keep an eye on him. The Mercedes crew have serviced him, and he's on his way down the main straight at the moment. And I can't get on to Softy, who has himself made his way past Court. Where's Matt Tibbles? There he is, leaving the pits. And Matt Tibbles takes the net lead of the race.
Brilliant stuff. Softy didn't lose too much time behind the back markers in the end. Court and Jordan were in advantage. He got the DRS, but Softy's all over him.
Here comes Softy then. He's on their overtake, but he's going to have DRS as well. What has Matt got to defend? They're side by side. We've got a yellow flag in sector number 1. Softy pulls alongside. Matt's not giving this one up anytime soon. They're squeezing each other. Matt late on the brakes, picks up a penalty. There's contact, and Softy retakes the net lead of the race as Corey comes flying past and Matt loses more time.
Yeah, Matt Tibbles just tapped the side of Softy and ended up getting a penalty in the process. Braked a little later. Softy was smarter. He knew what was coming and he made sure he stayed ahead. And crucially, now clear Matt Tibbles, who was dropped behind the Alfa Romeo of Corey and Matt with a penalty as well. So it really is now a fight between Softy and Corey up front.
I'm trying to see if Matt picked up any damage from that contact. I can't see, to be brutally honest. Let's hope that he hasn't for the sake of the race.
Yeah, Corey then right on the tail of Softy. It's his turn to give Softy a go, and Softy used all the reserves on that lap to try and make sure he was clear of the Mercedes. He came out just a little bit too close, I think, to Softy, and for Matt Tibbles to have gained, to have saved that position. But yeah, it's looking good for Softy now with Corey right on the back of him. Can Matt Tibbles still get involved in this fight? All it takes is a penalty for Corey and Softy, and Matt is straight back in it again.
Yeah, so just over a second at the moment separates these three drivers. It's been like this pretty much all race. Matt Tibbles obviously is still with that fastest lap as well at the moment, so we'll pick up, as things stand, an extra point.
We've got Jordan and Court going side by side through the final chicane, and the racing points of Aiden and Jack Hickey are all over them. Of course, Court and Jordan are going long in this race, but now Aiden will take both of them, I think, into turn 1 if he's smart. Jack Hickey, of course, coming a bit further back. Can Court stay ahead? He does for now, but Aiden will have better traction surely, and he'll take the position. A superb double move from the racing point driver.
Yeah, well done there from Aiden. He snuck through into La Source. Really good move as we head back up the hill and onto the Camel straight again. for one more time. Jack Hickey now is surely going to fancy his chances. I can't get the bloody cameras right. There we go. Jordan trying to move up the inside of Cord as he's going to think about it. Cord later on the brakes almost hits the back of the man we're on board with, teammate Aidan Griffins, but Aidan seems to be clear of these guys now, as it's now Jack's job to try and get through them. And is he going to try to move into the corner that I always forget the name of? Yes, he is, around the outside, and gets the move done.
Yeah, brilliant. Tyres are gone. He needs to pit this time round. Ginger Andy leads on the road at the moment. He does very well. He almost won last season to the changeable conditions. Unfortunately for him, the safety car ruined his chances. But Corey is sticking with Softy. The gap remaining at 5/10, and Corey is smart with his errs here. He's not using too much. They're on about the same. So it's going to be a fight in the last 4 laps, and I think Corey will go for it if he's in the chance of a move on the final lap.
Yeah, really exciting race developing at the front. A really exciting race at the moment in the midfield, thanks to these long runners on the medium tyres. Jack Hickey all over the back of Court, and surely is going to get the move done into the bus stop chicane. He's actually going to try and do it even before then. As they head into Blanchemont, they're going to be side by side, but Court wisely backs out of that one and sticks to where he is. What's happened to Matt, Dom? He seems to have dropped back a little bit now.
Maybe he does have damage, or maybe he's just going to save his earth for a bit, maybe go for something at the end, let the front two and front fight each other out. He doesn't want to distract Corey, maybe, as Andy continues to stay out there on that very warm medium tyres. Maybe he just wants a glory roll. In fact, they're soft tyres. So he's done 8 laps on these soft tyres, and for now it seems to be working. But Corey is looking very close to Softy. He's going to have a fantastic chance if he can keep within distance and use that DRS wisely.
Yeah, Softy with the better ERS at the moment, but they're both running relatively low. Corey quickly snips onto the overtake button. Here he is on the DRS. Here we go. Alpha versus Alpha as we head towards Les Combes. Corey moves to the inside line, and I tell you what, he takes the net lead of the race on lap number 8. A fantastic move from the Alfa Romeo driver. This is the sort of race he needed to kickstart his season.
Fantastic stuff from Corey, looking for his first win of this season. A reigning champion. It didn't quite work out last season, and so far this season it's been more of the same. But finally we're starting to see that pace back from the Alfa Romeo driver, and Corey looking very good here. Now can he hold on? He's got a fight from Softy behind. 4 laps to go, but it's looking good for now.
4 laps, anything can happen. It's still a slight haze over parts of the track and sun on the rest. It's a beautiful day here in Spa, you have to say, and we've got a great race on our hands at the moment. Who needs rain? Well, you've got 3 drivers that are all separated by less than a second, and we have to remember, obviously Matt isn't too far back, but does have that penalty disadvantage, and at the moment would lose the podium to Aidan Griffins, just 2.9 seconds back. And worth remembering, out of all these drivers, Softy is on the oldest tyres, so he could be really struggling as we head into the final 4 laps. Are we going to see Ginger Andy finally pin into the bits? No, he's not. Maybe he fancies a challenge for the win, Dom. I don't know. Maybe he's going to put on the last lap and surprise us all and win the race.
Maybe the game will just let him just get to the end. Maybe he's found a glitch or something, but Softy is keeping so close to Corey. Corey's going to have a very hard job to keep him back, because Corey's used every bit of ERS he can to stay in front for now, and Softy with 45% will have a glorious chance, surely, with the DRS. But behind him, Matt Tibbles can help Corey. Matt Tibbles can get clear and start to fight with Softy. Give Corey a bit of breathing space as outside that 3-second window, Matt Tibbles, crucially.
Yeah, Matt has got some very good energy deployment as well. Here comes Softy then. We're on board with the Alpha Tauri driver. DRS open, not deciding to use any of his overtake, as Corey just weaving in front to let Softy know that there's no chance on this time round. Matt keeping with these two, but certainly at the moment the closest battle on track is the one that we have for the net lead. Andy still staying out on those 9-lap-old soft tyres. Obviously, he qualified in the top 10, so he's even qualified on these, and at the moment has got them over 80% race distance. A very, very impressive effort so far, but he is struggling, and he is surely going to lose a lot of time in it. Maybe he's waiting for that safety car, but at the moment it's just not happening.
It's been a brilliant race, hasn't it? Andy, I think, will be outside the points once he comes into the pits. Maybe this time around, maybe he'll go to the end now that he's gotten so far. But unfortunately for him, he's now got a tyre penalty. Corey's got to be careful, because there's been times before he's crossed the line first, taken the checkered flag, looks set to win the race, but late time penalties on the final laps have cost him. He can't do it again. He'll be under so much pressure now. He'll be sweating, trying to keep that AlphaTauri back. He knows how good Softy is. Softy's won a fair few races in his time. Corey looking for his
Matt's gone!
first win of
Matt's
the
lost
season.
it! He's in the wall! He's lost his front wing! Oh Unbelievable. If Matt didn't have damage before, he certainly does now, as he's sent spinning down the order. The reigning TGP1 champion has had a nightmare of a season so far. It looked to be getting better last week, but for now it's sent spinning away and down the order as Aidan Griffiths very kindly inherits that podium place, and he does finally come into the pits, but it's a disaster for Matt Tibos.
And look at this up front. Softy is closer than he's ever been since he's been behind Corey. He's now just 4 tenths behind. He's got so much ERS. He's got the DRS. Surely this is going to be a glorious chance to go through with just a lap and a half to go. Can Corey hold the AlphaTauri back? It's got a glorious chance here in the braking zone. This is where Softy, of course, got passed by him. Just a few laps to go. But Corey, for now, keeps him back. This is brilliant stuff up front.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic racing. 2 laps to go, 2 drivers in 2 different teams, really giving it all they've got for this race win. What a fantastic race we're being treated to. Matt Tibos in the end couldn't quite hack it. He couldn't quite stay with it, but these two are giving it all they've got in this super slog that we've got on a Tuesday evening.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. There's a yellow flag further back. Kong Hoffner, unfortunately, it's double disaster for Mercedes. They will not be scoring any points here today. Kong out of the race. It shouldn't be a safety car. He's retired in the pit lane. And, of course, it's the final laps anyway. But the Mercedes right at the rear of the pack as Jonas rejoins his session outside of the points. Paul McGee into P9. As I say, that gets a time penalty. So Mike
Owen's going to be on for points.
Recovering.
Owen's going to be on for points. Let's hope that it doesn't do what he did last week and spin at the last corner, ruining any chance of that. But for the moment, at least, the other AlphaTauri might be about to finally get his first points of the season.
Meanwhile, the other AlphaTauri, the main one, is right on the back of Corey. The gap 2 tenths of a second. This is going to be a fantastic nail-biting final lap. Does Corey have the nerve to keep him back? It's going to be so close, Mike. I can't watch this.
I don't know who's going to win this. I don't know which one to call, but if you fancy calling it, then go to betnoon.com and place your bets tonight. We can guarantee that we will not pay out for the winner. But here we are then, 1 lap to go, 2 drivers, 2 teams, and about 5 miles of track. It's probably less than that. That shows you how much of the knowledge I know of this Spa-Francorchamps circuit as we head up to Eau Rouge into Raidillon. They're going to go on the Kemmel Straight at full pelt. They've both absolutely exhausted every ounce of speed they have from their cars, and Softy with a huge pace advantage at the moment. Corey tries to defend, but there's only so much he can do to defend it. Is he going to try and hold it around the outside? He's certainly going to try. They're side by side. There's contact. They're still side by side, Dom, but Softy finally gets the move done.
Corey has
here he goes!
Down the inside of Softy. They bang wheels up front, and Corey for now holds the position. They're still side by side. Softy is right on the inside.
And he spun! Softy's round! He's round! Unbelievable! The AlphaTauri driver tried to keep his foot in, but he's ended up spinning round with 2 title rivals gone. Softy drops to 4th. He's not going to be on the podium, and Corey's going to win.
Corey now 5 seconds clear of Aidan. I don't think Softy has damage, but Dan the man is just a second back. Although he does have a penalty, so we'll probably not get the position. But Corey and Softy coming together there. Title contenders, both former champions, and it was Softy who came out worst. Now down to P4 as Corey looks set to cross the line and take his first win of the season, his 12th of his TGP1 career.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. We're watching the racing points as we head towards the final few corners. Which one of these is going to finish second? Aidan Griffiths, as we said, not been on form recently, but Jack Hickey will fancy his chances. We're going to keep an eye on this battle as he heads into the final corner as Corey heads towards the line, and he finally takes a race win this season. Corey wins in Spa. Aidan is going to hold on to second place just about from his teammate. Really good result for Racing Point as Softy, our championship leader, comes home in 4th. And J. Luke nicks the fastest lap from Matt Tibos on the final tour to give another point to the Alfa Romeo team. Dom, what an absolutely spectacular race we were treated to.
We definitely didn't need the rain. That had everything. That was a fantastic race. What it was from start to finish was unbelievable. Corey taking the checkered flag. P1, what a win. The Racing Point 2nd and 3rd. They go really well around Spa, don't they? Softy in the end has to settle for 4th. He's off the podium. J. Luke up 7 places to take 5th. And CJH continues his great run of form to finish in 6th position. Ginger Andy did get 8th and he did score points. Pitting, of course, late on for that final set of medium tyres. But what a race. And what a win for Corey. He is back. That is the Corey we know when he won the championship a few seasons ago. He had the real pace. He had everything. A fantastic performance from the Alfa Romeo driver.
Yeah, and we've got to spare a thought for Matt Tibos, only just crossed the line there. It looked so good for him after those pit stops. He came out in the net lead of the race, but a bit of contact with Softy sent him spinning, sent him dropping, and then a further spin at Blanchimont with just a couple of tours to go. Found him in the wall, backwards, at the back of the grid.
Another brilliant dance from Corey. That's my new favourite. I mean, that's top Matt Tibos' one from last week. I think Owen may have scored a point. I think he may have sneaked 10th at the very end, which would be his first point of the season. And he has, I can confirm. Owen did get a point in that race, Mike. Finally,
fantastic news. I'm sure that that everyone watching right now will be just as pleased as Tom and I to see Owen finally get a point. It's almost a shame for him that Softy didn't end up out of the race there, because he would have been AlphaTauri's top scorer for the race. There it is. Owen Quimby sneaks in a point in 10th place. Great to see there from Owen. And I tell you what, he very nearly picked up 9th as well there. So your classified order on the road then. Corey wins finally this season in the Alfa Romeo. Aidan Griffins joins him on the podium in second place, with Jack Hickey rounding out the podium with a racing point 2-3. Softcop, our leader for so long, looked like he'd get the win on the last lap, but unfortunately it sent spinning out of his hands. P4. J. Luke in P5. A good day for Alfa Romeo. TJH continuing his good form, as Dom said, in P6. Dan the Man will be very disappointed with P7. Andy tried to make it work for the long stint on the soft tyres, but it didn't in the end. P8. Paul McGinnis in P9. And as we said, Owen rounding out the top 10 for AlphaTauri. Phil Beldrell just missing out, and Jonas, unfortunately, missing some of the races he did, also finds himself out of the points.
Yeah, and in the end, Matt Tibos snatched the fastest lap. So J. Luke loses that point. Matt Tibos doesn't get the point himself, of course, because he was outside the top 10. So no bonus points for that race in the fastest lap. But that race had it all, didn't it? And now we're off to France for the 10th round of the season, and Matt Tibos' 100th TGP1 race.
Well, I'm sure he'll be hoping for a better race than what he just did. You got to feel sorry for Matt. It looked like it was going so his way. You have to say, after that first round of pit stops, it looked like he surely couldn't throw it away, but throw it away he did.
Yeah, he really did, didn't he? I thought for quite some time that maybe Matt Tibos was going to get that win, but it just didn't quite work out for him. Of course, the penalty when he was racing with Softy came together, dropped back a bit in that spectacular crash when he was behind Corey and Softy, not really under any pressure. He was the one that lost it out of the three, the one at the back of the pack. But yeah, not what he needed. I think that's probably his title hopes over. The reigning champion looks like he's not going to be defending that crown this season. But we're off to France now. As I said, a track where we've had only 3 winners from 6 races. We've had Softy, who's won twice, Matt, who's won twice, and Machine Fishy, who has also won twice.
Yep, so it's a track of twices, it seems. Obviously only being on the TGP calendar for a couple of games. Obviously it's only third game it's being run here. Dom, has anyone actually ever only won this race once, or has everyone only won it twice so far? No,
everyone who's won this race has won it twice. 2-2-2.
So we could have ourselves a new winner, or we could have ourselves a third winner even, showing how good my maths are just there. Dom, it's going to be difficult to top this race now, you have to say. I'm just going to cut in, we got some live words from Owen Quimby, who has just messaged me saying, I got a point! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. He's quite happy with his first point of the season, is Owen. So well done, Owen, again. A really great drive in what was quite a frantic race.
Yeah, well done, Owen. Came so close, didn't he, at Canada last week? He was looking very set for a potential podium. His first points would have been a possible podium, but last lap, last corner, Wall of Champions, lost the car into the wall, just meters from the finish, maybe, 100 meters to get from there to the start-finish line. But yeah, unfortunately for Owen, it wasn't meant to be. But now, here we are. He's got his first point, and he'll be hoping to build on that for the rest of the season.
I have to say, it was incredibly good comedy value, what Owen managed to do last week. So on that basis, brilliant. But on every other basis, not so much. I think that he certainly wouldn't agree with us on that one. But then again, he might have found me crashing out with a couple of 100 meters to go in Brazil quite funny as well. So I guess that evens it out. The cars get ready to leave the pits now. What is split opinions of Formula One fans around the world, this Paul Ricard circuit. But you have to say, in TGP in the history, Dom, it's provided some good races.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of wet races here too. We saw Fishy, I think, in both of his in wet conditions. We're not going to see a wet race this time. We are confirmed from the drivers that it will be a dry qualifying and a dry race. So no rain taking place tonight, other than, of course, the final showers in that Belgium qualifying session. As all the drivers leave the pit lane now for their first of what will probably be 3 runs around here. It's a longer circuit. Not one of my favourite tracks, personally. I always find it a bit boring, the Paul Ricard circuit. I'd rather go to Manicourt. But some of the drivers do like it. And I'm sure we'll see a great fight and a great recovery, hopefully, from Matt Tibbott, who needs a response after that disastrous Belgium race. A track where, of course, he's won twice before. He is looking for his third win of the season in what would be his 100th start in the league.
Yeah, so all to play for Matt, a lot to do. But could potentially go his way. We'd like to think it will. He's obviously our reigning TGP1 champion, had a lot of success in his TGP career, in his 100th TGP1 race in France, of course. And will he get his 3rd win around this circuit? I think that the Paul Ricard is one of those circuits where it's quite fun to drive, but perhaps not very fun to watch any racing around. A circuit which has seen a lot of testing over the years, finally brought back to the F1 calendar in 2018, and the big push to expand the sport's growth in in France after a hiatus from the circuit of Manicourt, where we used to race at, of course. Our final race there taking place in 2008, and 10 years later coming back to France, the home of the FIA, of course, and I don't think the home to any TGP drivers, Dom.
I'm not sure if I had a French driver in TGP.
So if you are French and you're watching this, then do please write to us at jointgp at gmail.com.
France might be the only country inside Europe we've not had a driver from. We've had loads. We're about 15 Danish drivers, but I don't think we've had a French one. So yeah, please do sign up if you're French.
Yeah, please do. I mean, we don't want you just because you're French. It'd be great to have you here, I'm sure. But TGP Multicultural League, as we've got a Racing Point behind Matt Tibbott off the track at the moment, and we'd love to have you join us. So do please get in touch. Many different ways to get in touch with us here. Just going to throw this comment out there, Dom. Chris Johnson has decided to make a comment about the fact that no rain tonight, but it will rain tomorrow at some point, he's sure, after last week's TGP2 races, both being affected by rain.
Well, I mean, TGP2 join us, of course, tomorrow. We'll have commentary from Roy and Dan, former TGP1 champions. It will be some night, trust me. The top 3 in the championship, you, Mike, are one of them. We've got Luca and Jack with you. 14 points between you 3, I believe, after the first 8 rounds. And both races, last week were affected by rain at some point. They went, I think, from wet to dry or dry to wet. So it seems to be quite common to see rain in TGP2. And I think it's possible we could see it tomorrow. Chris Johnson will hope for rain himself. He's 4th in the championship. Needs a bit of rain to upset the odds. I think he's a little bit too far back to beat you, Luca and Jack, on pace. But Mike, you've won 29 races in TGP2 now. I have also won 29 races. That is more than anyone. Yeah. Who will be first to 30?
Yeah, we, it's, well, one of us, surely you've got to say, got to be. By my own admission, it should really be me, shouldn't it, the way things are going this season? But the inconsistencies are certainly there, and it is a doubtful, I have to say at the same time, as Matt Tibbott flies past turn number 1 after invalidating his last time. But yeah, we really are being treated to a fantastic TGP2 season at the moment, so do please join in the conversation and watching tomorrow night live from the same time. We're having a fantastic championship, and as Dom rightfully said there, you've got 58 TGP2 wins sat in this commentary box tonight, and you've got 2 former TGP1 champions joining you in the commentary box tomorrow. We really are having a fantastic season in the second category of the TGP franchise, and it would be fantastic if you could all come along and join us to watch it, and watch some very entertaining matches. It's been very clean this season, actually, hasn't it? Which is brilliant.
It's always very clean, Mike. Fantastic racing throughout the field. Some things have changed this season. Jack Pearson doesn't seem to bottle it as much in TGP2.
No, that's been a bit disappointing for me, I have to say.
Yeah, Jack Pearson always known for a bottle or a late penalty to throw away a win. Hasn't had that this season. Maybe with the benefit of the time penalties coming up on screen, maybe that alerts him to what other drivers have, and he can use that to his advantage and try and make sure he doesn't get any more than the drivers in front or the drivers behind. Maybe.
Yeah, I think I need to find a way to get onto his system and find a way of turning that off, I think, really.
Yeah.
That does seem to be giving him a psychological advantage at the moment, so I think I need to find a way to stop that and cease that activity as soon as we can. We've got very well distracted from the qualifying session that seems to be happening in front of us, Dom. We're 6 minutes in. We've had 8 drivers make that 9. Thank you, Jordan, for popping up right at the last moment there. Set lap time so far, make that 10. This is going really well. I shouldn't have started saying a number. And your provisional pole sitter so far, Jack Hickey, obviously picking up a podium in the last race. Seems to be in some good form at the moment, Dom.
Yeah, he's
as does both
season.
Racing Points. Aiden obviously finding his feet as well in the last race after a hiatus for a couple of rounds.
I think you have to say Racing Point might be the favourites to take this year's Constructors' title because, of course, Softy AlphaTauri is looking very good on his own. But Owen only just scored his first point of the season at Belgium, so that's not going to help AlphaTauri's case. And I think the other big hit is, of course, Alfa Romeo. They've had a very disappointing season, other than Corey finally getting a win last time out and Mercedes double DNF in Belgium, so no points for them. So I think Racing Point could be looking for the Constructors' title, which would be brilliant because Jack Hickey and Aiden would deserve it. They've been fantastic this season, both of them.
Yeah, both drivers put in good shifts so far this season. So it would be really good to see them get a strong result and keep battling in that Constructors' fight. Who have we got on some laps at the moment? We haven't seen a lap time from Corey yet. He's just on an out lap at the moment. Softy has done a lap time.
Dan goes quickest.
Dan goes quickest now on a 27.9. Wow. Go on, Dan.
Very good lap. Very
Fantastic
good lap
from the Ferrari driver.
27.9, so it's 2 tenths clear of Jack Hickey. I expect Softy, unfortunately, I think Softy is in the low 27s, so I think these drivers are going to have to find a bit more time if they want to beat the pace of Softy, which is pretty scary around France. He'll be looking for a victory. He's won at least one race every night, every week of this season so far, so he'll be looking to get his next win, which would be, I think, win number 60 in the league, if he can do that at France.
As many as 60 already. Obviously, Dan the Man. Is it Dan the Man who still holds the record for most wins in TGB1?
James has the most. James has 70. Ben 65. Dan 63. Dan has the most poles in TGB1. Miles clear of everyone else. But yeah, it's James who leads the way in wins.
Softy, obviously, only 11 behind at the moment. He'd need to win, pretty much every race for the remainder of this season to overtake James this season. By Softy standards, that's certainly not impossible. We're following Jay Luke now on a lap as he wiggles his way through the first sector. Tricky turns 3 and 4 here, and then you're in this long, wrong right-hander where you're just waiting to get on the power. The car constantly trying to get away from you. No lap data there, unfortunately, to let you know how he's doing in comparison to himself so far. He's got Corey just behind him, who's just started lap as well. Perhaps the Alfa Romeo drivers trying to encourage a little bit of a tow coming on here then, Dom.
Yeah, so Jay Luke really impressed, didn't he, last time out? Looks like it's finally starting to turn in favour of these Alfa Romeo drivers. Jay Luke finished, I think, P5, up 12 places, or up 7 places, I apologise, from 12th in the race. So he really came alive on race day, and it's not a great qualifying for Alistair, is it? He's out with the session. I think crashed earlier on. I think we missed that, but Alistair Bain will be starting at the back end of the grid, not setting a lap. But Jay Luke looking quick here, needs to find a few tenths, and he could displace Dan the Man's current quickest time of a 27.927. Yeah,
CJH just popped up into 4th place as well, so good time from him. The provisional pole position time at the moment, obviously just creeping into the 1 minute 27s. What can Jay Luke do? Corey further back invalidated his lap time as he missed the chicane. Jay Luke coming to the line. Is he going to improve? Yes, he does, to provisional pole on the 1 minute 27.8.
What can Softy do? Round the final corner, the AlphaTauri driver wants a response here. It's a long run to the finish line here. It seems to be after, I think, the actual start line, the finish line for the qualifying. Can he beat that 1:27.8 from Jay Luke? He's looking very quick so far. I think he's going to do it quite comfortably. He does by 4 tenths. Good lap, Softy.
Yeah, not really any surprise there from the AlphaTauri driver moving himself into provisional pole. Let's find Corey, just see what he's been able to do on this lap so far. He has gone purple in Sector 1 there, Dom. So the last time's race winner, and this time getting the benefit of the tow from his teammate. Maybe that's what Alfa Romeo are playing. I'm sure we're going to see J-Luke go straight on here. Yes, he does. That's a surprise.
Matt Tibos was looking so quick. He was coming around the final corner and cut it. And now he's got to do a whole lap again to come back into the pits. He's still yet to set a lap time, so it's not looking good. But yeah, Corey looking quick. Got a tow from his teammate.
And purple in Sector 2.
Purple in Sector 2. Can this be the time to display Softy's 1:27.4?
Yep, Corey coming alive finally in week number 5. And he'll be hoping for another good showing after that win, of course, in the first race. Phil Bardwell jumped up into second place, so a good night so far for the Ferrari drivers. Phil struggled in Spa, of course, as did Dan actually, but so far in France, the two of these drivers up in the field so far. Corey at the moment hasn't managed to invalidate his lap time, almost manages to spin, heading towards the line then. Is this going to displace the man from Nottingham? No, he lost a lot of time in that last sector. We saw him get a little bit sideways after that last corner, Dom, but surely he hasn't lost, 5.5 tenths just in one corner.
Yeah, I think really maybe Corey's not going to be a threat in this race. I think Phil is going to be Softy's biggest threat. He's been really impressive in practice here at France. Currently second quickest, only just clear of J-Luke and Dan the man, who had a dreadful start in Belgium. He put it down to his car got stuck on the curb at turn 1, and whatever reason it slowed him down and everyone just went round the outside. So Dan the man, a dreadful start for him, sort of hampered his race, finished P7 in the end, looking for a better result this time round.
Actually,
P4.
Dan the
can Dan the man go quicker then?
Yeah, wiggling through turns 3 and 4. That's one very good thing about this French circuit, is they have very big signs on the side of each corner saying what turn number we are, so it does help us commentators out. Yes. Dan through the first split then. Not too sure what time he did, not getting the time data at the moment, weirdly. So we'll wait to see what he does. He might be getting a little bit of a tow off the Williams in front. Dan chucks it into the chicane then, takes a lot of curb, as you've got to do. Gets on the power nicely. Such a tricky acceleration point there because you're turning and accelerating through the middle sector. Then Dan is a 10th up on himself, but more importantly, he is purple. Perhaps meaning that Softy might be running a little bit more wing, you have to say, at the moment, because obviously Corey was quickest in that silicon sector as well, but obviously being helped by the tow.
I think Jack Hickey as well. Another quick lap, currently P7 ahead of his teammate round the final corner. If he can keep this together, it could go into the front 2 rows. He might displace Dan the man and J-Luke. It's going to be a very long line to the finish. Where can Jack Hickey go? Can he get himself near the front? He goes P2.
Wow.
3,000s off Softy.
3,000? Jesus. Where did that come from? Dan the man to the line then. Is he going to improve? He goes P3. They're all finding time out there, Dom.
They are, and the driver's now getting back to the pit lane. I think everyone else is either returning to the garage, yes,
Softy's
they
on
are,
an outlap
and Court. Okay, so Softy will be the next main runner then to set a lap time. He's only just clear of Jack Hickey, 3,000ths of a second. Jack Hickey will be kicking himself if that's all it is at the end of the session. But I expect the times will tumble down a little more. And Matt Tipples and Corey, the pressure's on. Currently P6 and 16. They need to find improvements.
Yep, J-Luke as well, just coming around the final couple of corners, about to start a flying lap. 4.5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, as we still a lot of drivers will be coming into the pits now, bolting on a new set of the soft tyres and making their way out on track again. Matt Tibos has just left the pits as well, hasn't been able to set a lap so far. More the pressure on the Mercedes driver then, but here we are with J-Luke going to ride on board around Paul Ricard HTT, heading now towards turns 3 and 4. This not really straight line down to turn 3 there. Take as much of these apexes as you dare, but not too much, and risk getting your lap time taken away from you. Through the first sector, and he's finding 13,000th of a second on his personal best time as he heads onto the main straight now, and he waits a long time to pick his braking zone for the chicane.
This chicane coming up, I didn't know you could take that much curve. I saw from Dan last lap round that you can take a lot of it, so I know that now for TGP2 tomorrow, so watch out for me, Mike. I'll be finding a bit more time around Paul Ricard, but
Dom,
so
have you not heard they're actually going to do an update tonight, which is going to change
Oh, really?
that. Yeah. So you want to avoid that. J-Luke then losing a little bit of time in the middle sector, 1,000th of a second down into personal best. Very consistent lap time so far from J-Luke, you have to say, but not finding the time that he'll want or need, perhaps losing a lot of time in the last sector last time round, and we'll see what sort of last sector he can do that. At the moment, we have a Ferrari 3-4, and we have an Alfa Romeo 5-6. So the Ferrari powered cars, 4 of them at least, currently in the top 6 on the first 3 rows. J-Luke then around the final corner, straighten it up as quickly as you can, and the long run down to the line, not taking the shortest route to the line there, J-Luke. He might kick himself for that one, but improves by 38 hundredths of a second, and does move up a place into P4. How's Softy doing, Dom?
Well, he found a 10th in the first sector, lost a bit of time in the middle sector, but he's still up, he's still improving. This should be an improvement if he can get the last sector all hooked up. He's looking quick at the moment for the AlphaTauri.
Yeah, here we go. Final couple of corners then. This is where you can gain and lose so much time. Keep the speed, keep the commitment. Heavy on the brakes now. Don't lose the rear end on acceleration. He keeps it nice and tidy. Softy on an absolutely fantastic lap. And to the line is how much of an improvement is this going to be? And it's a 27.3. Finds almost exactly a 10th to distance himself from the other drivers so far, who are still in the pits. Interestingly.
Coming to the line, can the Mercedes driver get himself a repetitive time up to P2, just short of Softy's 27.3, very close though.
Yeah, that would have been pole if it wasn't for Softy's improvement, so Softy having to make that improvement. I wonder if Matt's going to try and go again, risk putting a lot of wear on the tyres. This is the very tyre abrasive circuit, so Matt's probably going to want to try and avoid that if he can. We've got Jack Hickey on an out lap, we've got Dan the Man on an out lap, we've got J-Luke in the pits, Phil Bargewell on an out lap, and we've got Corey on a flying lap, and he's just invalidated it, so he's going to have to go again.
Yeah, so Softy and Matt, that is their session complete. They will not be improving. There's not enough time to get back to the pits and go again. They want to save their tyres now for the race. It's very tyre dependent here around this Paul Ricard circuit, so don't expect them to go again. It is now on the chase. In fact, what can they do about the times of those above us? Corey is going to go again on slightly worn tyres.
Yeah, risky strategy from Corey, but clearly feels that he can manage it in the race somehow. He's had a very good opening lap, but obviously as the times have improved with the session, he has fallen, but commits it into turn 1 then, perhaps not taking as much curb as he would want to. He runs wide, and that is his session over. He's going to be no better than 7th, Dom. Wow. That's
not what he needed, is it? He won the race last time out. Look, his luck was finally starting to change, but P7 it is for him. Not what he needed. Phil Bargewell to the line. I think it's going to start a lap. He invalidated the last one, so keep an eye on him. J-Luke is done from this session, so it is going to be down to Jack Hickey, Dan the Man, and Phil Bargewell. What can they do? So of course Aidan Griffins as well, the second racing point. I think he's already on a lap. He'll be one to watch as well.
Yep, so I think Aidan is going to be the first one to complete his flying lap, heading towards the chicane at the moment. Let's ride on board then with the Racing Point driver, taking as much curb as he dares into that first part of the chicane, which Dom cunningly found out you can't do. Obviously, this is just an illusion. Aidan Griffins, purple in the middle sector, finding a 10th on his personal best, so clearly on his last tour, losing a lot of time in the final sector. Round the next few corners, Aidan Griffins keeping the car nicely kept under control. The checkered flag is out. Kong Hoffner, the first driver to take the flag. Aidan Griffins losing the rear end a little bit as he heads towards the final few corners.
Jonas is off in the background. He was improving.
Aidan's is off as well.
Yeah,
so where's Phil? Phil finding a bit of time in the middle sector then. This is where the lap went away from Aidan, and Phil has kept it together nicely. Just 2 corners to go then from the man from Middlesbrough. Stupidly as a Fulham fan, so everyone can laugh at him in the comments, but as he heads now onto the run to the line, is this going to be an improvement on a 1 minute 27.8? Is this going to be an improvement on P6? Phil Bargewell, it's P4. But again, didn't take that shortest run to the line. Was that a mistake? Down the man to the line is taking a bit more of a shorter route. Is he going to find any time? P5. Jack Hickey's not going to improve. Softy and Matt have got away with it, you have to say, as has Corey, unless CJH can find an improvement. Yeah, he is a 10th up on his personal best. CJH could be about to displace Corey, Dom.
Yeah, he's got to find 7/10 to get Softy. He might get Corey, though. He goes across the line. Where does he go? He goes P7. He does. He displaces him by about 600ths of a second himself into P7. Another excellent qualifying for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, he is steadily finding pace as this season's going on. A really solid season so far, I have to say. He is going down at the halfway stage of the season. On his halfway report card, I'm going to say CJH, most improved driver so far. Don't let me down in the race, son. That is your qualifying done for the French Grand Prix. So let's give you a rundown of the classified order. Softcop taking another pole position this season. Missed out on it, of course. No, he didn't miss out. He did get pole in the last race. What am I on about? His second pole of the night, of course. Matt Tibos joining him on the front row for the Mercedes. He'll be wanting to put Spa very, very much at the back of his mind. Jack Hickey in the top 3 positions on the grid. Phil Bardwell joining him on the second row. Down the man, the other Ferrari in P5, with J. Luke, the first of the Alfa Romeos, in P6. CJH, as we were just talking about, in P7, with last time's race winner Corey down in 8th. Aidan Griffins makes it P9, with Johners rounding out the top 10. Jordan in P11, the first of the drivers with a free choice of tyre. Kong Hoffner, Camo Babbo, Paul McGuinness in 12th, 13th and 14th.
Softy claims his 56th career TGP1 pole position, puts him equal second, level with Johners. Now only Dan the Man is ahead of him, but he's a fair bit ahead. 25 poles ahead on 81, but Softy is charging. He's setting more pole times throughout this season. That's 2 tonight, so another great night for him on the 1-lap pace. But yeah, looking good. It's going to be another fantastic race, isn't it? We've got Matt Tibos right alongside Softy, just where he needs to be. He's won here twice before. It's his 100th TGP1 start. What can he do about that form driver of the Softcop? Corey further down the grid. P8 not looking great for him. Can he get another win tonight? A circuit he doesn't tend to like, so it's going to be hard. But yeah, another fascinating race to come, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it very much.
This circuit with limited overtaking opportunities and a very low chance of a safety car. But anything can happen in TGP1. And as we get ready for lights out in Le Castellet. Drivers just getting ready for the grid. Obviously, we have Waste joining us as well in the second race. Waste missed in Spa and at the moment is missing the start. I don't know, maybe he's got caught in the lose. Signing autographs perhaps, but the Haas driver needs to get his way onto the grid pronto. We're still waiting, so do bear with us.
Classic ways. This happened last week, didn't it?
We've lost Johners.
That's the wrong driver. We needed to lose ways, I think, to get this session going.
Oh, and here we go. Something seems to have happened. We got 4 and we got 5 lights in France all of a sudden, and they're underway for the French Grand Prix. And I have to say, Jack Hickey again with a very good start. Matt Tibos, though, has already taken the lead before turn 1 has even happened, and Softy's long back. It's Matt with a great start. Jack Hickman lost a little bit of time in the second phase of the race as CJH has made it up to 5th by turn 1. Fantastic start from him as we've got Kong Hoffner round at the back with Paul McGuinness. Disaster for them, but Matt Tibos has taken the lead with Dan the Man now trying to make his way up into 3rd place. Jack Hickman's going to try and defend him off if he can, with CJH still there as he fancies a run at potentially a podium spot. But a great start from Matt Tibos, Dom.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Look at CJH right on the back of Jack Hickey. He might get him here going down to the chicane. Look how much faster he is. But Jack Hickey himself tries to get clear. Dan the Man and Softy and Matt Tibos right at the front as well. We've got battles throughout the field here, Mike.
Yeah, fantastic. CJH trying to go around the outside of Jack Hickey. That's not going to work. Softy was sticking in the wheel tracks of Matt Tibos. That wasn't going to work either. We've lost Kong Hoffner, unfortunately. Alistair Bain is also at the back as Phil Marswell's out. Disaster for Phil.
Safety car.
We have a safety car in France. And are we going to see any of the drivers diving into the pits? Phil Bardwell just looked to lose that all by himself, unfortunately for him. Are we going to see any of the drivers make a pit stop, perhaps put on the hard tyres and go to the end of the race? As we said here, tyre wear is key. And surely we're going to see, I'd say, a large proportion of the drivers coming to the pits. Dom, we said overtaking opportunities and safety cars are a rarity, but we've had a lot of overtakes and we've had a safety car. And at the moment, we've got a lot of drivers heading into the pits.
Yeah, I think the best bet is to dive into the pit lane. Will Jordan choose to stay out? Of course, he is on the medium tyres. The rest of the field chose to go for the soft rubber. This is going to be interesting. What tyres will they go to, mediums or hards? Practically everyone has dived into the pit lane. It is just Jordan who I think is staying out, as has Court, who had an excellent start. As Owen picks up a 5-second penalty further back. Can Softy, crucially, come out ahead of Matt Tibos? Will Matt Tibos get stuck in the pit lane with others pitting in front of him?
Oh, he has jumped him. Disaster for Matt. All that hard work on the run down to turn 1 has been undone. And Matt Tibos loses the race lead. That's what you get for being too high up in the pits. But meanwhile, Kong Hoffner, who we said has left the session, is ahead of Softy. So that is at least some crumb of comfort for the Mercedes driver.
Yeah, so they're all going onto the medium tyres and not a single driver thought about the hard. So it's pretty easy call. in the end, I think Matt Tibbles might have forgot there was a safety car out because it looked like he was going to go for the move on Softy. But yeah, Jordan, Waze and Jonathan choosing to stay out. Those three are going to go a bit further in this race, and it's Waze and Jonathan who are on the soft tyres. But yeah, I think Matt Tibbles will be a bit disappointed to have lost the place. I think maybe Matt's desync, or maybe he... Yeah, I think maybe Matt has had a desync, or maybe he thinks. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. I think maybe there's a bit of glitching going on the driver's times, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what's going on there. Matt has now returned behind Softy. I think the issue is we've got Kong, who has left the session and not retired. So it's obviously showing as a classified runner, but isn't there. So just a reminder to drivers, of course, that if you are planning to leave the session, that you retire as well. Or we end up with issues along these lines. So your order then after lap number 2, and I didn't think I would be saying this order, I have to say, as Camo Babo unfortunately has picked up a penalty a little bit further back. So your order then after lap number 2, ERT Jordan in the current lead of the race. Owen picks up another penalty further back. He's not having a very good race after his first points last time out. We've got Waste at the moment in P2 with John as P3. Soft Cop, our pole sitter, even not our soft sitter, in P number 4. Kong Hoffner isn't actually there in P number 5. Matt Tibos pitting again? No, just taking an unusual line. And Matt Tibos, who was leading the race before the safety car was called, but got jumped in the pits, currently in P6. Yeah, he is P6. Owen Quimby comes into the pits again. Matt's having a disaster with his teammate here. I don't know how Softy was able to get past him. But Matt getting very irate with his teammate, who isn't actually here, so it's not really worth him doing it. Unseen by me, Jordan and Waze have pitted.
Yes, so Jordan and Waze have chose to pit now. I'm not sure why he won't just pit the lap before. They're now going to be right at the back of the grid. Maybe they would have jumped a few cars if they just chose to come in on the first lap. But this is not what Matt Tibos needs. He's got an AI car in front of him, which he can't overtake. So that means Kong Hoffner will have
J Luke's gone as well. So, it's a disaster for Matt. He's got a car that's gone in front and the car that's gone behind him. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know if he's coming or going.
Yes, a few disconnections here. Not quite sure what's going on. Looks like the servers have well and truly gone down here at the Co-Masters. But J Luke is back, so he'll get back in that car in time for the race. We expect the safety car to come in this time round. The field is now all bunched up once again. It's just Owen to come round and join the end of the pack. He's gone back onto a new set of medium tyres, so not choosing to risk it with the softs or the hards. But it's down to Jonathan, who will lead them on the restart. He is staying out for a bit longer on those soft tyres.
Yeah, and a golden opportunity for Softy as well. Just the one car in front of him. And obviously a car between him and Matt, who is realistically his main challenger for this win. And he's just desperate to get through, isn't he? I don't know if it's let him stay ahead now. It'd be great for the race if it has. Alistair Bain's got a penalty further back. Not a surprise under a safety car. He was known for that in TGP2. As Aidan Griffin's brother has now picked up a 5-second penalty, as does Paul. So not really too sure what's going on further back, as we have got the safety car in this lap. And Matt has been able to jump Kong. Dan's been able to jump J Luke. We'll keep you updated with what's happening with the order, of course, as we go further on. But John is then in control of the pace, in control of the pack, and Matt Tibos is looking very racy, isn't he, Dom? As we said, it's a 100th TGP1 race. And he wants this win. He wants it badly.
Yeah, so Jonathan will get them off in just a few moments' time. Matt Tibos getting very close to the back of Softy. He wants to get them to go right now as Jonas finally does get going. We're about to go racing here again at Paul Ricard.
Oh, Matt nearly runs into the back of Softy, but he's got a really good exit off that corner. As we head towards turn number 1 now, it's green and going again. And is Matt Tibos going to fancy a move on his main rival? He's certainly going to think about it. He darts to the outside line. Is he going to try and hold it there if he can? No, he can't. J Luke picks up a 5-second penalty further back, as does CJH. Here comes Matt Tibos then. He's got the run on Softy. Softy's defending with all of his might, and he's going to try and go the long way round. These two collided in the last race. They've touched again in this one. And for the moment, at least, Matt has to settle for third. But it's so close between these two. And this is giving John a bit of breathing room, Dom.
The shoulders are out, aren't they, in the title contenders and the title fight. Matt Tibos all over the back of Softy, looking to get through. He wants that position back. He feels like he deserves it. He got through on lap 1, but unfortunately lost it in the pit stop phase. And this does give Jonas a bit of breathing room out front. He needs to go long. He needs to go as far as he can on those tyres. Try and get some sort of gap, not lose too much. So when he pits, he is in a fight at the end on much fresher tyres on the rest of the field.
Yeah, Dan the Man sticking with these two as well. Really good racing between these drivers so far. As you said, elbows out stuff, but we like to see hard and fair racing. As Jonas really is checking out further ahead. He's kept his soft tyres in nicely and in a good window at the moment. Perhaps Softy's struggling at the same time, but at the moment at least it's advantage Jonas.
Yeah, Dan the Man right on the back of Matt Tibos. There's a real train behind Softy. I've never thought I'd say that. Matt, Dan, J-Luke, Jack Kicky, CJH and Corey all looking to get involved in this fight as Jonas checks out up front. But Softy for now will look again to defend from that Mercedes as Dan the Man, J-Luke went side by side in the final corner. Jack Kicky tried to join that fight, but fantastic stuff here.
Yep, the field very close so far as Jonas sets the fastest lap, reaffirming the pace that he's got at the moment despite being on those older soft tyres. The midfield bunching up nicely as well. We've got some great battles going throughout the field at the moment. Owen unfortunately has retired from the race. Thankfully he seems to have retired in the pits, which helped us out no end. Softy, however, closing the gap on Jonas and in the prime position to try and take the race lead. On the main straight then, heading towards the chicane. Is he going to try and move up the inside? Thinks better of it for the moment, at least staying as we were then for a few more corners at least. Matt's going to want to stick with this and want to make a move on Jonas the same moment that Softy does.
And when Softy clears John, Matt's going to have to do so very quickly after that. Otherwise, Softy has the chance to pull clear and get an advantage, which probably will be very hard to come back at later on in the race. Matt Tibos just staying a bit further back behind now as we see Corey into P7 ahead of CJH. He's got through on the McLaren driver. McLaren driver trying to get straight back at him, but Corey, a beautiful move into P7.
Yeah, Corey starting to pick off the cars as well. He had a so-so qualifying by his standards, qualifying down in 8th place. Getting past CJH, the man who did manage to out-qualify him. Jonas stays out for another tour then to bring them round to start lap number 6. We're almost halfway through this race. And the Renault driver in Renault's home race giving them something to shout about. Meanwhile, Alistair Bain, his teammate, is all over the back of Camo Babo for the last points-paying position. Going to try and go the long way around. Our reigning TGP2 champion is going to try and make it stick. And I tell you what, he's made it work. And he makes his way through as now his brother tries to make his way through as well. And Aiden moves up into 11th. But a great move there from Alistair, making his way into the points positions.
Yeah, brilliant double move there from the Griffin brothers as Softy now gets right on the back of Jonas, swiggling his way. Can he finally now clear that Renault, looking to get charge of this lead again? It's very easy, isn't it? He shoots through, he takes the lead of this race, and Matt Tibos won't be too far behind, but Jonas had a good charge. He stayed out for as long as he could. He got to 6 laps, but in the end, Softy takes candy from the baby.
Yep, that was very easy, as you rightfully said there, Dom, in the end for Softy. Jonas now the car in between Matt and Softy. Going to be very difficult now for this to work for Matt. Still got a long way to go in this race, as we said. Still 8 laps to go. But Matt is going to have to work hard to get this one.
And Aiden,
sorry, Dom.
Aiden looking to clear his brother here, looking for a move on the Renault driver. Both Renaults fighting behind. Aiden really got screwed over, didn't he? In P11, will become P10 when Jonas finally chooses to pit. Jonas stays out for now. Not good news. To win this race in his 100th. Alistair tries to get the Haas of course ahead of him.
Yeah, and we've got Matt Tibos, who has now got past Jonas into turn number 1, moves his way up into 2nd place, as Alistair does now move ahead of Court and into 9th place. The brothers then making their way up the field nicely, and it'll be Aiden's turn next. Court going to put up a bit of a fight, is he? He thinks about it, but into turns 3 and 4 has to back down in the end. And Aiden's now going to try and make a move past the slipping Haas driver. Court's teammate even further back at the moment in 16th place.
And Jack Hickey, the second racing point, looking to get clear of Dan the Man. Will he get through into the chicane? Who's going to be late on the brakes? It is Dan the Man, just about keeping the position. But Jack Hickey will have a second chance to stay out of position as ahead of these two. J-Luke looks to get P3 from Jonas. Could it be a podium for the Alfa Romeo driver? Jack Hickey to the right of Dan the Man, takes the position. Can Dan the Man come back at him? The Ferrari driver losing power on the straight. He's run out of hers. And Jack Hickey, crucially, now clear of the Ferrari and into P5.
Yep, good move there with J-Luke with that penalty, as we said. This puts Jack Hickey at the moment in a net P3. Jonas losing touch with the top two as they start to stretch their legs and pull up a bit of a gap. Surely Jonas will choose this lap to come into the pits. Perhaps he was staying out a bit longer to see if there was a safety car, and rightfully Jonas does now dart into the pit lane.
Yeah, so what can Matt Tibbles do about Softy then? Does he have enough pace in him to beat the AlphaTauri, who's in fine form here? The gap is still below a second. Crucially, Matt Tibbles needs to keep it in that window as Corey now on the back of Dan the Man for P5. Can he get his way through into turn one? These two have history. They've come together before, but Dan the Man for now keeps the position, goes a bit wide, and Corey will have another glorious chance to go to the right of him. He'll pull clear, and surely will get Dan on the brakes into this late corner. Turn number 3, just about getting through. Dan the Man still there, still side by side, and CJH right behind the pair of them. Can he get himself through in this amazing battle? But Corey, crucially, P5 for now.
Yeah, Corey slicing his way through the field. Might fancy his chances still at a podium after that poor qualifying. It's coming together for him nicely during the race. That safety car helping him out massively, you have to say. But for the moment, at least, finds himself in P5. Dan the Man has got goals on that P5 at the moment. He's going to try and go the long way round, but can't quite manage it this time. Dan the Man losing another place. Lost one to Jack Hickey at this point last lap, and now loses another one to Dan. He's going to have to watch his mirrors, because here comes CJH with the overtake, and the move is easy. Dom and CJH now up into 6th place.
You may even get Corey into the next corner. He's flying, isn't he? Look at this. The McLaren has some serious pace. Needs to be careful not to clip the back of that Alfa Romeo, otherwise Dan the Man comes charging back through once again. But CJH is really impressed, hasn't he, Mike? I think it's been our driver of the day the last few races. He's been fantastic, hasn't he? He's come alive in the last most recent 2 weeks. So can he now get a charge on Corey? Corey needed to clear Dan as quickly as possible. He's done just that, and now he's got to make sure he can keep the McLaren right behind him too.
Yeah, really impressive races recently from CJH. Really good to see the McLaren driver coming into his own in this league, and we hope for more of the same as the season progresses. At the moment, holding on to 6th place, keeping down the Man at base, but going to have to look at his battery management in a minute as he's running towards the lower end, as is most of the drivers around him, however. But even so, he's going to have to watch that one as we head into the start of lap number 9. 5 laps to go. The gap at the front still under a second. Matt Tibos was over that second mark from Softy at the last tour, but has closed that gap back up again. 8 tenths at the moment. So Matt Tibos in a good position, hopefully, to make a strike, as Corey having to weave further back to break the toe for CJH, as Dan the Man still getting interested behind the two of them. But it's as they were into the chicane. Good battles going on at the moment, Dom, throughout the field. Talking of good battles, Court is going to fancy a move on the inside of Paul. Unfortunately, there's a little bit of contact there, but Court's not giving up, neither is Paul. And for the moment, at least, Paul does maintain P11. This battle just outside of the points. But they're still pushing just as hard as they can. Jonas, meanwhile, just a few tenths behind Wace, and is surely going to put a move on the Haas driver to move over to 14th. Yes, he does. Wace coming back at them, though, round the outside. Is he going to try and hold his own? He certainly is, and Wace, for the moment at least, has kept the place. A good race from Wace, you have to say, but he has eventually lost the place, and Jonas moves up into P14.
Yeah, Jonas needs to get on a charge. He's quite a bit back from the points positions. It's not going to look good for his chances at the moment. Aiden crucially cleared his brother into P8 now, into the points. Will want to try and get after Dan the Man, who's ahead of him, but 5 seconds adrift, so might just be safe for P8 for now, with Aiden, Griffith and CJH still sticking with the Alfa Romeo of Corsa. He's not letting him breathe. Corsa wants to get off to the guys ahead. J-Luke isn't too far ahead, but the McLaren is right in the mirrors of that Alfa Romeo driver, and Corey needs to keep looking behind to stay back. Make sure he keeps him back, because he's got a lot of work to do here to keep that McLaren in position 6.
Yep, and J-Luke pressuring Jack Hickey at the moment as well. Jack Hickey, I don't think, would be too bothered by that. With J-Luke, of course, having the penalty that he does. TJH once again getting close to the back of Corey, but not in a position to make the move. Jordan further back sets the fastest lap of the race. He's down in 16th place at the moment, having to make 2 stops. Unseen by us having to make that second stop, but was temporarily leading the race at one point. Of course, Dom, after that first round stop, so it hasn't quite worked out well enough for the Williams driver. I have to say, CGH so quick at the end of the second part of the straight and through that those two long right-handers all over the back of Corey, giving Corey a real headache, but not quick in the parts of the track where he can overtake them.
Yeah, crucially not quite right for him at the moment. You can see how much quicker he is than Corey, but just at the moments when you think he finally has a run, Corey seems to have that bit of better traction. He stays clear, and unfortunately for the McLaren driver, it's frustrating because he just has to sit behind. It's the same for J-Luke. He's just stuck behind Jack Hickey. Jack Hickey is probably going to pinch that final spot on the podium as things stand because J-Luke just can't find a way through. So these drivers are all so close but struggling to make the move stick.
Yeah, all running line astern at the moment. Matt Tibos has closed the gap in the front to just half a second, meanwhile. Both of them on similar ERS deployments, so clearly not going down that route, but Matt Tibos coming back to this race, Dom. Could we have a fight in the front?
I really hope so. We want to see it. Matt Tibos was robbed at the pit stops, had to wait a little longer for his mechanics, and unfortunately for him, that was enough to let Softy go through. Matt Tibos then losing the position through the pit stop phase. He'll be wanting to get back through. He wants to take a win as an 100th start in the league. It's 4/10 now. The gap is gradually coming down. Is it too late? He has the DRS. The ERS management is exactly the same. Matt Tibos is right with Softy here. In the coming laps, we might see a move, and I hope we do.
Yeah. I really hope we get a race between these two. Meanwhile, J-Luke still stuck studying the back of a Racing Point car. Just really, really difficult for him. He wants to get in front of Jack Hickey and make himself a gap to get further up the road. Keep hold of that podium, but at the moment, at least, he will be dropping down a couple of positions. Corey, meanwhile, has picked up a penalty unseen by us.
And the Griffin brothers are going side by side for P8 and P9. Alistair's come straight back at Aiden on the inside. Can he get him? Here, he's looking very good, isn't it, for the Renault driver? Aiden's had the edge throughout the season. The older brother by about, I think, 6 years, keeping his younger brother behind for now. Both TGP2 champions, both now impressing in the top tier. And Aiden Griffins holds on to P8 for now, but he's going to have a hard job to keep his little brother behind. Yeah,
Aiden keeping little bro in place at the moment, but little bro is growing his own wings and trying to flap them about in the Griffins household at the moment. Alistair got a good chance down the main straight. He's got overtake, he's got DRS. Aiden late covers the inside, and gosh, I thought that was about to be a plane accident. But Alistair, for the moment at least, has he got the move done? Aiden's holding it round the outside. These two, no love lost there between the brothers. And Aiden at the moment, Dom, keeps P8.
Yeah, don't be surprised his internet suddenly turns off. Maybe Alistair gets a bit annoyed, goes downstairs, turns off the router, and Aiden disconnects from the session. But they're still 8th and 9th. Great racing. Ginger Andy right behind them. We've got a Scottish 8, 9, 10, 11 here, doing it for the Scots. Can Alistair finally get clear of his brother with Ginger Andy right behind him?
Yep, Alistair then with the overtake, with the DRS, he moves to the inside. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Aiden tries to hold it around the outside. This is great racing between the two brothers in two different cars in one house. And we've got Andy, I think he's probably just enjoying watching this behind at the moment. All of these drivers with penalties as Softy is about to start the final lap. And we've got this great battle going on for P8 at the moment. Matt has got the gap down at the front. It did just dip under half a second there, but it has just gone back up now. As they have started the final lap, and the gap is just 0.3 of a second, Dom. Matt is all over the back of Softy, and that is because there's a Mercedes in front in the way, and finally Kong Hoffner's put his Mercedes to good use, and this could really give Matt an opportunity, but he's low on fuel.
This is brilliant stuff. Matt's got to be careful with that fuel and that ERS as well. He's used it a lot to get up to the back of the AlphaTauri, but is he done it too much? We'll see. He might lose positions at the end if he's not careful. He needs to stick within 3 or 4 tenths here, which he has done for now. He's going to have DRS. A glorious chance for the Mercedes driver to get through and take the lead.
Here he goes then. As we head towards the chicane, he's used all his overtake. He's got his DRS open and he's got no more. I think that's his chance gone. Unbelievable. It was looking so good for Matt at the end of lap 1, but it's all gone downhill from there.
Yeah,
Disaster.
I think Softy's going to hold on here. I think Softy's going to hold on. Matt Tippers will have one more chance. Surely this is it. Into the next couple of corners further back. They're still fighting Aiden and Alistair side by side. Alistair's gone ahead. And I think Matt Tippers has now run out of fuel, I think. He's run out of fuel, which means the cars behind are going to catch him.
Oh, disaster.
Has he not? Maybe he's not. Sorry, for me, the power stopped. Looked like he was dropping back, but maybe he's okay. Sorry, I do apologise, but sorry, just switched it down to lean. I do apologise for that fright. Delu, 3/10 back from Jack Hickey. Can he snatch the final podium? Corey defending for his life from CJH, looking for a move down the inside, thought better of it. Corey for now holds on. There's battles throughout the field. 8th and 9th, Alistair ahead of his brother. He's got through. Kamababo side by side of Court in 12th and 13th. Just 1/10 between them. I don't know where to follow, but Softy's going to win the French Grand Prix.
We've got Softy crossing the line. A fantastic win in the end. Matt Tibos crashes over the line in disgust. Jack Hickey holds on to 3rd place. A good race from him. Jay Luke is going to drop a couple of places, but only loses 1 in the end to his teammate. No, 2. Down the man moves up into 4th place despite finishing 7th on the road. Alistair wins the Battle of the Brothers for P8. He does indeed, and he does finish P10. He beats Paul by half a tenth, Dom.
It was very close, wasn't it? Paul just misses out on the points. Jonas as well was very close as well. I said he wouldn't get any points when he almost did. Only 5/10 adrift of Paul in P12, but what a race from Softy. In the end, it was 3.6 because Matt got a penalty on the last lap for crashing across the line, and Jack Hickey almost stole P2 because of it.
Yeah, Matt won't want to do that too often. But did in the end hold on for 2nd. His driver's celebrating, but inside his helmet he'll be seething, having missed the opportunity to take another win this season. Alistair Bain, deserving driver of the day, I think, just for putting up with the shit that he was getting from his brother, I have to say. It was very close between the two drivers, but they raced hard and fair, but a good race nonetheless. Softy claims another victory. Win number 60 was that, Dom, for this season, or in total?
Win number 60. Win number 60 for Softy, just 10 now back from James, who is the all-time leader.
Yeah, Matt Tibos picking up a 2nd place. Couldn't quite get his 3rd win in France in his 100th TGP race, but I'm sure a 2nd isn't too bad in the grand scheme of things. So then, let's give you a rundown of your classified order. Softy takes another win in TGP1 for AlphaTauri. Matt Tibos in 2nd place. It was so close, and what perhaps could have and should have been. Jack Hickey picked up another podium, his 2nd, 3rd place tonight in P3. Dan the Man benefiting from others' misfortunes to be P4. Corey in P5 after a dreadful qualifying, with J. Luke finishing P6. CJH, another solid performance from the McLaren driver in P7, and Alistair Bain, as we rightfully said, up from 18th on the grid to finish P8. Aidan Griffiths comes home in P9, with Ginger Andy rounding out the point scorers, with Paul Jonas 11-12, Kamababo in P13, Jordan in 14th, at one point was leading the race, Coort in 15th, 16th for Waste. Kong Hoffner didn't finish and almost made it very exciting for us at the end. Mayor Quimby retired from the race, and Phil Bardwell caused that safety car on lap 1, and his race ended early as he went for an early bath. Well, Dom, we've been treated to another fantastic evening of TGP1 racing, but it seems same result, different race.
Yes, another fantastic race it was, wasn't it? It's tense from start to finish. So many battles throughout the field. It was hard to pick one, but Softy crucially taking win number 60. What a night it's been for him. He will extend his championship lead to go into the 2nd half of the season. And next week we've got China and Vietnam, so I'm sure that's going to be another entertaining week to follow.
Yep, we head over to Asia. We're going all Oriental next week in TGP. We hope that you'll join us there. This has been another fantastic week of racing. Remember to tune in tomorrow night, TGP2, same time, for that fantastic championship battle we've got going on. Well, all that's left to say is thank you all for watching. He's been Dom Smith. I've been Mike Noon. This has been a TGP series production, and we look forward to seeing you next week.